Hey, all you backyard garden railroad fans. I just wanted to do a short video on installing Railpro into a Bachmann Big Hauler 10-wheeler. This is an older uh, model, probably 30 years old, I'm guessing. Plastic drivers. It's not an anniversary engine, but it's something that you can pick up fairly cheap. I see them at yard sales and Goodwill, places like that, and can do the install. And if the gears break on it, it does have the plastic gears in the locomotive. It wouldn't be that hard to swap out the Railpro system into another engine, since they're fairly cheap. It's not like buying a $500 brand new Bachmann engine with the metal drivers and all metal gears in the drive unit. So, anyways, basically the engine didn't do a whole lot to it other than take it apart, take out the wiring that's in there, left the headlight connected, and then ran a new wire coming out the back to supply power to the motor. I'm going to flip this over, look at the bottom. I'm not going to take the cover off. It's your typical, Bachmann locomotive. I mean, these are made over many years, different versions. You can, for those who know, you can look at the bottom here, and depending on what you see, it can tell you how old it is or what version it is. I'm not sure what version this is, but basically there's just a couple of screws that hold the bottom plate in here, and take it off, you can get right into the gears. I took the whole body off, a couple of screws here and right in here and under here, and I took everything off. That way I could get into all the wiring and strip everything. I mean, there was wires down here for your DC pickup, and then inside here you'll have pickups rubbing on the drivers to take the electricity up to the motor. I strip all that out because it's just friction against the wheels. Why have that if I'm not going to use it? I'm not using any of the DC from the rail. It's strictly battery, which would be coming in on this wire here. You can, with Railpro, hook up the headlight so that you can turn it on and off separately. Lots of functions with the Railpro, but I don't bother with that. I just leave the headlight connected to the wiring to the motor. When the power comes in to run the motor, the headlight comes on. Of course, the more power to the motor, the brighter the headlight. But it just makes it easier for the operator. They're not, the person that is going to get this is not interested in all that. So just took it apart, greased up the gears. That is the plastic gears. They're in good shape. Somebody had been maintaining this. A lot of new white lithium grease on there. So it's in good shape. Okay, that's about it for this. I'm going to look at the tender, show you what I did there. All right, here's the tender. It's nice because this is a wood burner, and this plastic simulated wood gives lots of room to do the install of the receiver. Originally there was a plug that came out that went from the tender into the locomotive. I just put a new plug on to match up the one that I have on the locomotive, and it runs in the same location as the other one. The same path goes up here. I did replace the wheels that were in here. This had a crude sound system in it for the chuffing, so it already has a speaker in it, and it's already mounted in the slots in the bottom. So I left the speaker. The speaker was in good condition. So, all right, I'm going to open this up and you can take a look inside. Okay, now that the body is removed from the tender, this is the power cable that comes in here. Existing hole comes up, and then it travels up into the top where the wood pile is. Speaker is here. It's the original speaker in great shape. It really sounds good. I did 3D print a round cover to go over the speaker, because if you put a cover over the speaker, it'll make it sound 100 times better. And then I have a hole here, and then the wire goes up, and there's a connector here that goes to the speaker up top. That way, if I wanted to unplug this, disconnect, do something with the speaker, or take the body off, I can do that. This is where the battery is mounted. try to mount the battery over the trucks, give it some support, put the weight over the trucks versus the center. Some of the Bachmann cars, you get into the coaches, if you're mounting batteries, it'll bend a little bit. So it's nice to have it as close as you can under the truck. I 3D printed this battery holder so that it would fit on here. And then I, actually here's another one here. And I put slots in here so you can put a tie wrap around to hold the battery in. And of course, here's the plug here for the battery so you can unplug it, put a different battery in. Had to leave room over here for a slot for the wires to come out. This battery holder is set up where it can do 2 different size batteries. We have, here's a, well, they're all 14.8 volt, 6700 milliamp. And here's a 355 milliamp. We figure we'll try this one first. If this doesn't, have enough power to run as long as we want, or they want, then we can put in a larger battery and it'll fit into this holder. And then you just put the tie wrap on the top only, and that'll hold the battery in place. All right, let's look at the top. Okay, here's the top. Now originally there was a 9-volt battery that went in here. This does open up, and a 9-volt battery would slide down in there. I've removed all the brackets and everything. Originally I was going to put the charging port and all in here, but then when I realized that there's plenty of room underneath this simulated pile of wood, and we're trying to do this with one hand, I cut all the, originally this was screwed down to the top of this, so I removed all the brackets and everything, so it just sits here right now. And then you just lift it off. Here's the Railpro receiver right here. I put the charging jack in right there. And then right here is the switch for charge, off, and run. And originally I was going to leave this plate loose, but then I decided to bolt it down. I got your receiver. A number of people are selling these brackets, which has a fan, which you may need depending on where you're operating and the temperature, and if you're in the sunlight. It's a nice thing to have. The fan is wired into one of the light outputs so that you can turn it on and off as needed. If you get a warning that your board is starting to overheat, you can turn the fan on, otherwise leave it off and save on battery power. Some people wire the fan in so that when you turn this on, supply power to the board, the fan comes on automatically. Your option. There's no right or wrong. Save a little battery power. And then I just took the leads here and then just ran down to the hole to go to the speaker and so on. Actually, the speaker wires are back here. There's a plug that goes in, and in there is your lighting outputs and your speaker outputs. So those speaker outputs just go down underneath and down the little hole I drilled there to go down below. Now, because when this cover is on, there's not a lot of air, space for air. So what I did, I drilled a series of holes, if you can see them. There's holes all around this, here and over there, but they're in a place that you don't really see it. So when you put this cover on, you don't even see those holes anywhere. And then I do, that way it'll give me some airflow. If the fan does need to go on and I need to blow some air around, I'm getting some fresh air coming in. So that's basically it. Nice easy install, easy to take this cover off, get right in, charge the battery, whatever. You don't have any unsightly plugs or switches, and a lot of times people put them underneath here, but I find that to be a pain because you can't see it. I mean, if you have to, you have to. I mean, you put them where you try to conceal them, but it's nice if you can easily get to the plug to charge it. All right, so we're going to stop this and then go outside, and I'm going to actually run it and then show you a little bit about the Railpro handheld controller and some of the functions on there, and you can hear some of the sound effects. All right. Okay, we have the train down on the layout, and we're going to go through some of the functions of the Railpro system, and then I'll run the train. Again, I'm going to be doing this one-handed because I have to hold the phone camera with the other hand. So, all right, so like I showed upstairs, everything is underneath here. Take this off and then come into the switch. Turn that to the on position. Put this back on. And then come over to the Railpro handheld and push the button here to bring it up. And then go to the home key, locomotives. And I already have a photograph of the locomotive into the system. So you push that. And then that brings up the different functions that you can use on the locomotive. We have the whistle, we have the bell, and that'll stay on as long as until you push it again. Turn on the locomotive sounds. Have a water fill sound effect over here. You can hear a little better. That stays on until you push it again to turn it off. You have the shovel and coal. Again, that stays on until you turn it off. We have the blow down. You just push that once and it cycles through. And we have a coupler clank, coupling up. And then the steam engine sound, it'll just cycle through different things. You hear the air pump running. You can hear when it runs, the chuff. It'll sit silent for a while. It'll do other different things. So, okay, let's get this going. Put the bell on. And then turn the dial, and off it goes. I have the sound all the way down. I mean, it's 20% sound. That speaker is very loud, the original speaker that came with the locomotive and the tender. And again, the layout is partially under tents and some of it's not. That's why you see this, it's bright back there. Now it's kind of in the shade. And as you're working the throttle, it has the battery amount that you're using. So we're at 60%. Right up here is that. And there's a lot of functions, a lot of other things that happen in here. Forward and reverse is right there. You push that, you can go forward and reverse. So where are we at? Okay, we're over here. Coming around. And I have the, again, the battery is hooked up, or well, obviously run the receiver, and then the headlight, I don't control that. You can control the headlight on and off. I just have it where when there's power to the motor and the engine, then the headlight lights up. So it's not where it's controlled separately, but you can do that. You can control it separately. You can control it high, beam, dim for park. You can do all different kind of functions with the headlight and other lighting. You could also run a wire back into the cars, and you could have a function where you could turn the car lights on and off using the same battery. So again, trying to do this with one hand. And you could set up the chuff rate. There's lots of functions with the Railpro system, but just want to give you an idea. Now, this is just, again, this is just an inexpensive, you know, big hauler, very common, many sets over. This thing's probably 30 years old, at least. So, you know, if it does die, just take the system out and get another one. I mean, you can see, find them in yard sales, and I picked this up, I think it was Goodwill. It's like $40. So, all right, well, that's kind of the story on this engine, this train, and the Railpro install. Hope you learned a little something from it, and hope to see you trackside.